Hi, I'm Dr. Maya Dinger. I'm the oboe instructor at Yavapai College, Scottsdale Community College, and Paradise Valley Community College, and play with many groups here in the Phoenix area. And today I'll be playing the oboe and the English horn etudes for you and talking through them a little bit to help you prepare for your upcoming audition. All right, so for the first etude, it's relatively straightforward. What is tricky is at the beginning of the second line, the A flat to the B flat trill. Instead of going like this, you can just lift this middle finger. It makes your life a lot easier. And I would trill for one beat and then land for one beat, thinking in eighth notes. So da 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 dum. And the same with the B flat to the C. The other hang up in this etude is the second to last measure. A lot of people want to play it da 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 da, but it should be da 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 da, right? Because it's technically on beats 1 and then the and of 2 when we're talking about eighth notes. So make sure you take that little bit of space in between. All right, for the second etude, you can either take those grace notes and make them even so they're like eighth notes then, so bum, ba, da, da, da. Or what I did was I kind of just made them a little bit shorter than the note they're attached to, so bum, ba, da, da, like that. I would, in any kind of slow movement you're playing, I would not do super fast trills right away. I would start the trill slowly, increase it, and then stop it again. Something else to notice in this etude is the articulation. There's a random tenuto and then staccato, so da 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 da, which it's already a tricky rhythm, so make sure that you really focus on that articulation in this one. Etude number 3. If 2-2 is confusing to you or messes you up or your tempo isn't as steady, I would think about it in a fast 4. Bum, 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 ba, da, 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 da. Something else is that you should, if you're able to, if you have an oboe with left F, I would use left F in those triplets on the E, F natural, D sharp, because that will be really clean, right? You can't use a regular F with this little banana key here because then you can't slur to a D sharp. Forked F would be rather awkward, like E natural, forked F, D sharp, but if you don't have a left F, you'll have to do that. So just practice that really slowly if you're able. Speaking of really slowly, I would much rather hear any fast piece in general, fast etude, like under tempo, but clean, as opposed to at tempo and really sloppy. Any judge would rather hear something very clean. All right, etude number 4. I think this one is the most difficult for oboe because of the key signature it's in and having to use a lot of pinky keys on both sides. So you'll have to make a lot of decisions whether you want to use forked F, left F, regular F. There's a lot of potential for blips because of that. So something else that you might have noticed already practicing this is that you can't use a metronome while practicing this for the big beats because it switches from 6/8 to 2/4. So if you have bum ba da 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 da, then the 2/4 would go bop 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 ba 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 da 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 da, and that's not it, right? So if you want to practice it with a metronome, you're going to have to put it at the eighth note tempo, because it says here eighth note equals eighth note. So bum ba da 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 da, and that is how you'll be successful with this one. Etude number 5. I love this one because you can really showcase your musicality here. So on the first line it says molto espressivo e rubato. So make sure that when you are doing your rubato, yes, you are taking time, but you also have to give it back. It's not a ritardando, right? So there has to be some sort of push and pull. Something else I want to point out is the first measure of the second line. There's accents on the offbeats. And I wouldn't hit those like Sousa offbeats like you're in band. Think of it more like a weight. Bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da. And that will be great then. All right, English horn etude number 1. Just like in the oboe etude, there is a 6/8 to a 2/4 right next to each other. Eighth note equals eighth note. So make sure you put the metronome on the eighth note tempo. Ba-dum, bum, ba, 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 ba-da-dum, ba-da-bum. And then you'll be able to practice it with a metronome, as opposed to putting the big beats on there. Another important thing, because this one is relatively straightforward, is make sure that you look up all the words if you don't know what they mean. If you don't know what giocoso means, like lively, playfully. If you don't know leggero, light, make sure to go through all the etudes and look that up before you even start practicing it, because you don't want to play anything incorrectly and then go back and realize, oh, now I know what this word means. All right, etude number 2. So in the 5th and 6th measure, there's relatively quick notes, right? But those are not just quick scales going up. Those are actually mathematically, they should be very precise. So at first, it'll go 1 E and a 2, university 4, triplet 2. That's what I'm thinking in my head when I do that. If you want to, instead of university, say hippopotamus, that'll work as well for 5 notes together. But then for the sextuplet, definitely think about it in 2 groups of 3. That will help a lot. Also, in the second to last measure, going down to the low D flat and then tonguing the low C, make sure you put a little less reed in your mouth, be a little more gentle, but still put enough air through so that the note will sound. All right, the 4th etude. So this one isn't too bad at all. Just make sure you look at the articulation da 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 da, right? And then also on the last line, the second measure, that is pretty tricky, the 16th note run. Look at the articulation, always slurring the second and the third note in that group of 4. And if you're ever having trouble playing really fast 16th notes or something like that, I would change the rhythm up. So I always do the dotted 8th, 16th. So in this case, bum, ba bum, ba bum, ba bum, bum bum, and then switch it. Bum bum, bum bum, ba bum, ba bum, bum, and then play it straight. And it tricks your brain into thinking the original way is actually easier. Etude number 4. I think this one is the most challenging of the 5 for English horn. Make sure to just put as much air as possible in that last line through those notes. That is very uncomfortable fingering, sliding from C sharp to C and back, and then left E flat, right? That is not easy. So make sure that the air is consistently going, otherwise that note will hesitate, and that's not good. Something else, you're going to have to make decisions. Do you want to use forked F, left F? I always try to campaign for left F over forked F, especially on some English horns. Forked F doesn't sound that great, but I also like to use normal A flat as opposed to right A flat, so you just have to make some decisions here. Etude number 5. So again, it's in 2-2, but if you would rather think about it in a kind of fast 4, because the tempo is grave, I would do that, ba-dum-bum-bum, right, like that. Something else to think about is at the end, the last 3 measure, it says molto stringendo. Plan that out, because at some point, the last measure and a half, you have to put the brakes on, because it says molto rallentando. So plan, where is the peak of your stringendo going to be? When are you pulling back? And besides that, this one is nice to really showcase your dynamics. English horn isn't the best instrument in general to play like really terrace dynamics, but in this one, the register that it's written in, it's really easy to make that instrument sing. I hope these videos helped you today, and I hope your audition goes wonderfully. Remember to go into the audition with correct notes, correct rhythm, and as much musicality as you can muster.